Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're gonna recap a 2014 Korean movie named Parasyte. That had a perfect mix between horror, sci-fi, and drama. Alien parasites arrive on Earth and invades people's brains, turning them into lethal human-eating mutants. And it is up to young Shinshi to eliminate the infected before they wipe out the entire planet. The movie begins with Shinshi, who was sleeping while listening to music, not knowing about the new type of parasites that landed on Earth. Suddenly, a parasite entered Shenshi's room and tried to get inside him, but Shenshi could feel it and throw it away. Not knowing what this parasite really is, Shenshi started to attack it, as he thought it is just an insect. During this, the parasite managed to enter Shenshi's body. Then Shenshi's mother entered the room not knowing exactly what was going on. She said nothing happened, and his hands are okay. So Shenshi decided to let it go, and not to think about what he just saw. In the morning, Shenshi went to school as usual. He felt something weird is going on with his body, but he didn't pay it much attention. During a class, his rubber eraser fell to the ground, and suddenly his hand stretched on its own so he could reach it. Shenshi didn't pay much attention to it and went for a basketball game. Everyone was so amazed. Shenshi started to shoot perfect shots. He wasn't even control his hands. After the school, Shenshi started to Google his symptoms, but suddenly, a weird eye popped up out of his hands. That scared Shenshi so much. Shenshi decided to cut this eye to know more about it, but just before he touched it, his whole hand turned into a weird shape. He now has a mouth, eye, and leg on his fingers. Shenshi then asked his hand to leave him alone. His hand told him that its name now is Miji, and it wouldn't leave him as it's his own hand. Shenshi was too scared to even sleep. After spending the whole night walking up, Shenshi went to school covering his hands. In the middle of the class, Miji asked Shenshi to go to the library immediately. Miji would help Shenshi doing everything as its hand developed. On the other hand, Miji wasn't the only parasite that landed on Earth. The other parasite started to enter other human bodies. The other parasite was so aggressive, it killed all of their hosts after eating their brains. While Shenshi was sitting in the bus heading back home, but Miji turned on after feeling another parasite near him. Now Miji was so hungry, so he forced Shenshi to go to a butcher near them. Miji wanted to eat brains as any other parasite, even venom, did it. Miji was so disappointed to find the butcher's closed, but he kept looking around till he found a door. Inside the butcher's, Shenshi was terrified as he saw the other parasite. Unlike his, the other parasite was so aggressive and eating a dead body. Shenshi, who was so scared looking at this, made some noise that made the other parasite pay him attention. The other parasite then turned back into a human shape again and offered Shenshi a part of the dead body to eat. And when Shenshi refused it, Parasite knew that Shenshi is a human being, and Miji only could control his hand. So the parasite started to chase Shenshi, who was trying his best to escape the butchers. Unfortunately, the door was locked, and now Shenshi was in real danger. Shenshi then asked Miji to be useful and fight the parasite, but Miji was too weak to do it. Then the parasite had a better idea for Miji. It asked Miji to join him, and they both can eat Shenshi. Miji then refused the offer and started a fight with the parasite. Even though Miji looked cute and peaceful, but it could turn into a beast who cut the parasite's host's head. That was a great move by Miji, but it was a little too much, as now everybody who saw the fight called the police, so Shenshi had to run away out of the butchers. The police then entered the place to investigate. Everything was in deep mess. The main detective then found out that it wasn't just a butcher's, but it was a secret place for the butcher who was eating humans. The detective was in shock after seeing the butcher's body, as he didn't know who would be able to kill him. That should be a monster to cut an alien's head off. Back again to Shenshi, who went to school as nothing just happened. Miji started again to look around as it senses another parasite nearby. Shenshi couldn't believe it. Why would Miji sense another parasite today and couldn't sense it before? Then he saw the new teacher, who called Tamaya. She was the new teacher, and that was her first day at their school. That definitely means she is the parasite host, or as we can name her, an alien. Shenshi then started to follow her till she could hear him walking behind her. So she told him that she just want to live like a human, just like him who wanted the same thing. To convince Shenshi that not all the parasite hosts are evil, she took him to meet other two hosts, Shimada and Master. They both are parasite hosts, and in the meantime, kind persons who just want to live like other people. Tamaya's main purpose of this meeting is to gather every parasite host to let them all help each other. Cause if the police detectives found out who they really are, they would kill them immediately. Tamaya was working on a project. She was trying to find out whether the parasite hosts could get pregnant, and after trying it with Master, she found out that she could get pregnant just like humans. But Shenshi had a good question. question: when she got pregnant, what kind of babies it would be, a human or an alien. Tamaya said that if the father is a human, then the baby will be a human being. Shenshi didn't believe what Tamaya was saying. He even refused to join her team, saying that she didn't really know what she was doing and asked her to leave. Before leaving, Tamaya told him not to interrupt her experiments and she will let him go then. While Shenshi was leaving the place, Miji asked Shenshi not to get closer to Master, cause he is not a good guy as he thinks. The next day, while Shenshi was getting back home, Miji could sense Master near them. So for the next time, Miji asked Shenshi to take care and not to interact with him. When Shenshi saw Master in front of him, he started running, but Master was too fast and could get them. Miji asked Master to leave them alone, as they didn't break Tamaya's rules, so there is no need to attack them. But Master told Miji that he knows he was the one who cut off the butcher's head, and as they did all of this to one of them, Master believed that he should kill them, and not to let dangerous parasites like Miji walking around freely. So it was another battle between Master, who was a really giant parasite, and Miji, who proved himself to be fatal. The battle was so strong and none of them was winning, so Shenshi decided to protect his parasite and stabbed Master with a metal rod, as Master could never think that the boy would attack him. Then he escaped, as he now killed someone, and blamed it all on Miji. What Shenshi didn't know is that Master wasn't dead yet, and his parasite tried to find another host before Master's death. At this moment, Shenshi's mother was walking by this place, and when she saw Master on the ground, she tried to help him, and that was a perfect chance for the parasite, as he found a new healthy host. When the lady went back home, Miji could sense the parasite and woke up Shenshi, who was ready with a knife to kill the parasite, but then he found out she is his mother. Shenshi refused to believe that his mother is a host. He thought that Miji was broken and confused due to the last fight with Master. When Miji insisted on his opinion and asked Shenshi to kill his own mother, Shenshi decided to cut off his whole hand to get rid of Miji. Then he saw his mother hosting the parasite, but couldn't harm her with the knife. Unlike him, his mother's parasite attacked him and destroyed his heart before leaving the place. Miji then saw Shenshi dying, so it got inside Shenshi's body to fix its cells. Miji succeeded in getting him alive again, and there weren't any wound scars on his body. Days later, Shenshi's friend from school was so worried, so she visited him asking why he was skipping the school. But Shenshi, who didn't have any answers, ran away. He didn't know what to tell her. Shenshi then went back to Tamaya's place. He wanted her to help him, but she refused to help him, saying he broke the rules, as he killed Master, who was in her group. Miji then took control and told Tamaya that Master's parasite is still alive, and his host now is Shenshi's mother, meaning that the parasite now killed Shenshi's mother. Tamaya wasn't surprised, as she knew that Master's parasite was evil, so Miji asked her why would she got such parasite in her team. Shenshi then felt angry, as now Tamaya is responsible for his mother's death, so he decided to kill her. But he could never do it, as Tamaya is such a powerful host. Even when he tried to kill her from her back, she caught the knife easily and threw it back to Shenshi, as Tamaya wouldn't help him. Shenshi decided to take his mother's revenge and start looking for Master's parasite. Miji then took him to a place where there is a lot of parasites, so Shenshi hoped he would find Master's parasite there. Shenshi could find the group of parasites hosts, but the problem was that they are all top-level politicians. The first issue was that Shenshi couldn't reach them. The other one is that now Parasite's plan was so clear. They want to control the whole state via these politicians. So both Shenshi and Miji had to fight them on their own, and they will need a solid plan to face them. Before getting to any plan, Shenshi went to open the door, as it was the main detective who investigated the butcher's scene. The detective told Shenshi about this case, and then about Master's body, who was suffering the same wounds. Shenshi told them that he has no idea about all of these incidents, and surprisingly, the detective believed him and left the place. In order to prove himself as an ordinary person, Shenshi went back to school again to attend his classes. But then his friend introduced Shimada as the new student. Shenshi could tell it's all Tamaya's plan, but couldn't say anything in front of his friend. Satomi, Shenshi's friend, then asked Shenshi to shake Shimada's hand, so Shimada shaked Shenshi's hand roughly. He was trying to destroy Miji, who was still in Shenshi's hand. Later then, Shimada reported all that happened to Tamaya. He said that Shenshi's hand is so strong. Tamaya knew it was cause Miji had fixed Shenshi's cells, so now she needs Shenshi for her experiments more than ever. In the night after the school, Shenshi was getting ready to look for Master's parasite, but Miji stopped them, saying he has a confession. Miji said it's too weak now, as it used all its powers to wake Shenshi up when he was almost dead. Shenshi was so sad hearing that, as Miji almost killed itself to help him, and as now they can't find Master's parasite anymore. On the other hand, Tamaya was so upset with her team, cause they all were so childish, eating human bodies all over the state, and that will attract the detective to them sooner or later. In the school, Satomi asked Shenshi out. She offered him a dinner in her house if he doesn't like the open-air places. Shenshi accepted it, and they went shopping after school, as they would pick Shenchi's favorite meal ingredients. But then Shannon saw a dog who was in the middle of the highway, so he went to help it getting away. Satomi was so in love with Shenchi the gentleman, but then Shenchi found out that the dog was dead, so he mercilessly threw it in the trash can, saying it's just a dead dog and not a big deal. That turned Satomi off, and shouted at Shenchi saying he is a cold-blooded boy and left him alone. Not just Satomi was surprised by this behavior. Even Shenchi didn't like what he did, so Miji told him that now his whole body changed after he fixed him. And Miji said that Shenchi is now half human, half alien. That was a good and bad news, as aliens are much stronger than humans, but they have no feelings. Back again to Tamaya, who is finally pregnant, but according to school rules, she had to be fired. Then she went back to her home, where her parents could tell she isn't an ordinary person. Tamaya wasn't in the mood for this chaos, so she killed them both, getting herself more hosts. In the school, Satomi was so disappointed with what Shenchi did, so she had a crush on Shimada, and asked him to be her model while she was painting. But one girl pulled Shimada's hair to can paint him perfectly. What they didn't know is that pulling aliens' hair shows their true identity, so now Shimada had no option but to kill them all. Satomi was brave enough to throw a glass of concentrated acid to Shimada's face, so he was in pain and couldn't see any of them, even though he hit one of the girls, cutting her body in two halves. Miji senses the presence of an evil parasite, so Shenchi ran to the painting room to see what Shimada did. When Shenchi arrived, he saw the ground full of dead bodies. Shimada killed all of his colleagues, and only Satomi could escape, so he decided to kill her too. Shenchi started to cry loudly, seeing what happened, and didn't stop, till Miji asked him to shut the fuck up and think about a plan to get Shimada. Shimada was still looking for Satomi to get his revenge, as she burnt his face. Shimada found Satomi hiding inside a closet, so he started to attack her, and just before killing her, Shenchi showed up and hit Shimada roughly. Then he told Satomi not to be afraid of him, as he isn't an evil parasite like the others. The battle then began between Shimada and Shenchi. Shimada tried to cut off Miji's hand, but Miji could find his way back again to Shenchi. Shimada was still dizzy due to the acid, and wasn't fully focused during the battle, but cause now Miji is too weak. Shimada would win the battle, but Tamaya arrived and decided to blow up Shimada to kill him, as she wanted Shenchi for her experiments and didn't want anyone to touch him. When Shenchi saw the bomb, he took Satomi with him and jumped over the place, so she was safe during the huge explosion. Even though the explosion was huge, Shimada somehow managed to stay alive and killed all the police officers who tried to investigate the place. Miji then sensed the existence of Shimada, so Shenchi decided to kill him as he killed many innocent students. Shenchi knew that he won't beat Shimada in a one-to-one battle, so he got a new plan, as he made arrows out of roof steel and threw them towards Shimada, killing him immediately. After finishing Shimada, Tamaya went to Shenchi's place, telling him that she was never his enemy. She also said she will go away for a while to be a mother, and to prove she was never an enemy. Tamaya gave Shenchi the place where Master's Parasyte is, so Shenchi went there to find the parasite in his mother's body, so he asked it to have a battle. Shenchi was only relying on Miji to win this battle, but Miji's powers was done, so Miji turned itself into a sword so that Shenchi could use it in his battle. Shenchi is now so scared of this battle, as he is too weak comparing to an alien. The battle then started, and Shenchi was so strong, he was avoiding all of the parasite's attacks, and even when the parasite showed up as his mother, Shenchi didn't hesitate to cut its head off. After this battle, Shenchi went to the hospital where Satomi was, and Miji could wake up again to help him. Shenchi couldn't talk to Satomi as she was still unconscious, so he just stood by her bed. What Shenchi didn't know is that there was a photographer who took pictures of Shenchi with his alien hands. In the state, the aliens' plan was going well, as their politicians won the elections, and now they can control the whole place, as the aliens' real plan is to kill as much people as they could, so the Earth will be a good place for the rest of the living humans. But what they didn't know is that Shenchi is still alive, and now he got Miji back, and that was the end of the first part of the movie, so stay tuned for the next part, the end.